Hey everybody, I want to talk about something sort of quick, simple, and sweet. Now, I've been watching videos from just some guy, Critical Drinker, and a few others. And of course, their focus has been She Hulk and Rings of Power. Rings of Power. I, I've not watched either. I've seen some clips. And I'm not a big Tolkien fan. I'm not. I'm not a big Tolkien fan. She-Hulk I'm kind of cool with, and I know a lot, as you've probably seen in a previous video. But Razor Fist said something very important months ago. That the best way to deal with both the Rings of Power and She-Hulk, since we all knew it was going to be terrible, was just apathy, ignoring it. Don't do reviews about it. Don't talk about either show. There's no use in it. You know the show's going to be bad, but the best way to let Disney and Marvel know how you feel is don't spend any money on them. Don't watch their shows. Don't review their shows. There's no need to. There's no need to watch either of these shows. You know they're going to be bad. Reviewing them means you had to watch them to know that they were bad so you could talk about them. Why would you do that to yourself? That doesn't make any sense. You had to technically spend money on Amazon and on Disney Plus to watch both of these shows. Unless you went the Jack Sparrow route. Which is fine. You have the right to do that. But here's what I want to say. To help calm some people's angst about this. Both of these shows are fan fiction. For those of you who don't know what fan fiction is quite literally fan-made fiction. Taking a world, a storyline, characters, and a fan takes them and makes its own story out of it. Fan fiction's been around forever. It became really popular in the late 90s when the internet came out and people were able to write their own fan fiction and post them online. I can remember seeing all types of fan fiction. Most of it was pretty horrid. I remember I did read one Tenchi Muyo fanfic with great interest. It wasn't very sexual or anything, but it was just well read, well written, and it kept within, certain parameters. The only bad thing about it was that Tenchi was going to magically marry both girls, Ryoko and Aika, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I don't remember what the rest of the fan fiction was about. I don't think I ever finished reading it, or either it was never finished. Either way. And then there were the Harry Potter fanfics, which I'm sure a lot of you remember, even if you're a millennial. Oh, the worst ones were, and I just glossed over the tags for the stories in many cases. Yuri, basically gay, lesbian, incest. So the Weasley twins fucking one another. Hermione getting fucked by somebody. Harry getting fucked by whatever that dude was in Slytherin. Mordred or whatever his name was. I'm like, why the fuck are you coming up with this shit? There's entire sites dedicated to writing fan fiction for all manners of stuff, including Marvel itself, where, Tony Stark has adopted Peter Parker and made Peter his son, all sorts of weird, crazy, creepy shit. That's why I don't read fan fiction anymore. I don't need the trauma. But think about this. Look at Rings of Power. Look at She-Hulk. It's fan fiction. And Amazon, that is the most expensive bit of fan fiction I have ever seen in all of human fucking history. They must have spent at least $1 billion to buy the scraps of the Silmarillion and other little bits and pieces of writing that J.R. Tolkien had. Then they spent another $1 billion to produce that crap product? They spent $2 billion to make fan fiction. None of the writers had ever read any of Tolkien's work. They probably had barely seen the Peter Jackson movies. And you're going to plunk them down and tell them to write a Galadriel fanfic. That's the entirety of the Rings of Power. It is a Mary Sue Galadriel fanfic. I know enough about the Tolkien story and I know enough about Galadriel from bits and pieces I've read on different websites that she's nothing like the character in the Rings of Power. None of the characters are like the characters in the Rings of Power. It's fan fiction. I would almost go so far to say it's feminist fan fiction. It's like Michael Burden or Berger or whatever her name is in Star Trek Discovery. Pure fan fiction. This is not the age of reboots and remakes. It's the age of fan fiction. Where you plunk down a bunch of people who've never watched the series, have no respect for it, nothing, and tell them to write a story. And they write a story that suits their dreamy-eyed views. It's all fan fiction. The damn women who did She-Hulk, they all admitted they had never read a damn thing about She-Hulk. They weren't in the comics. And then they come out with, and guys, JSG, I love you, man. You cool and all that. Critical Drinker, I'm cool with you and all that, too. I like both of you. I'm subscribed to both of y'all's channels. But couldn't y'all see what was going on? I'm just going to say this out right out. Y'all were fools in a way. Every damn time you did a video, a day later, some article would be released from whatever magazine or group or whatever saying, oh, we talked with so-and-so and they told us this magical, mystical thing about the show. Almost countering your argument that you would put in a video. Rings of Power, every time JSG would put up a video, 1 or 2 days later, or within just a few hours, here's some magical article talking about why the Rings of Power was great and everyone who's talking bad about it is haters. Same thing with She-Hulk. Exact same damn thing. It's like you had haters, you had people who were writing the show and dealing with the shows, watching y'all's videos, coming up with something to say beforehand. Or better yet, the writers or whoever timed their release of their stories and everything else to the release of your videos, which wouldn't be hard. They could construct a bullshit narrative very quickly, have somebody pay somebody to write it out for some magazine or whatever, and then have them release that every time. I mean, they already knew it was getting shit. Both shows were getting shit canned weeks before they appeared, so it wouldn't be hard to make up articles to counter y'all's narratives. They know what your narratives are going to be. They know what you're going to say before you say it, because you've said it so many times about so many other things. So you got played. I'm just being upfront. You, JSG and CD, you both got played. Razor Fist, older and maybe a little bit wiser than both of you, I don't know, warned you, just leave these two shows alone. Because you know they're garbage. Just let them rot. Because all you guys did, and the others who were making videos about it, you were just feeding fodder to a shit-loaded cannon. And every time y'all said something, they fired the shit cannon. You gave views and reviews to these two shows. Because you start bitching and complaining about it. They write out articles to counter your bitching and complaining. Normies see the damn articles and say, oh, I need to go watch that show. There's so many people complaining or lauding and praising it. If you didn't say anything, these people wouldn't write their articles. The normies wouldn't see their articles. Then the normies wouldn't go watch the fucking show. And worst of all, and I'm going to make a prediction, She-Hulk's going to get a second season. Why? Because these women, no matter how dumb they are in writing, they're smart in self-advertising. With all of the negative publicity that She-Hulk has gotten, and all the flack that they've gotten, they can go back to Disney and Marvel and go, oh, look at how much we put up with. Look at what so many people said about us. We deserve a season 2 so we can iron out the wrinkles from the last season. That's what they're going to say. You know what Disney's going to do and Marvel going to do? Yeah, sure. You got picked on. We're sorry that happened to you. Here's another season. Here's another few million fucking dollars. And Disney goes, if you couldn't fix it during the first season and you had more than a year to get that shit right. You had Marvel's vast resources of comics to pull from to make the character work. How the fuck are you going to do that better in the second season? You're not! You're not. But whamming whining, you know, Marvel's ears and Disney's ears are more prone to listening to whining than they are to fans. So, kind of stuck, guys. That's all I can tell you. But you helped make that happen. That's all I can really say. Now, both shows are over with. I don't think Rings of Power is going to get a second season. If it does, Jesus Christ. Jeff Bezos, are you watching where your fucking money's going? I know you're second to Elon Musk when it comes down to cash flow and all that shit, but seriously, bro? You're not watching where your money's going? You just threw $2 billion literally down a stinky latrine shithole. And watched Rings of Power float up to the top, still covered in shit. That's what you did, man. But, regardless, to help everyone calm down, to help everyone feel better about themselves, just think of this all as fan fiction. You've read fan fiction before. You know it's a steaming pile of crap. Most of the time. It helps me. I'm like, oh, this is fan fiction. I don't have to read fan fiction. I don't have to watch fan fiction. Look a couple of clips. I know what this is. This is Mary Sue fan fiction. Gary Stu fan fiction. Just bad fan fiction in general. Okay. That's it. It's fan fiction, guys. Enjoy. Or don't enjoy. It's up to you. But everybody have a good and blessed day. Bye-bye.